Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk specifically about Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition and the 2023 Paramount Dungeons & Dragons movie, and why I am getting hopeful for this film. So one, I appreciate your patience because I think I vacillate on if I'm excited or not excited about the Dungeons & Dragons movie. I'm just aware of, so it's a complicated mix for me, right? So here's where I'm at. I think, I want there to be a blockbuster platform. I don't want a good movie about Dungeons & Dragons that I watch. I want a movie that serves as a foundation for a trilogy. I want a movie that makes $1 billion plus. I want a movie that is watched by Dungeons & Dragons fans and non-Dungeons & Dragons fans. I want a movie that's funny. I want a movie that has great action. I want the visual effects to be amazing. And I want this all to turn into real juice for the Dungeons & Dragons game. Right? So a lot of people are out there, is this going to be a good movie? I don't give two craps if this is going to be a good movie. I want a lot more than that, right? So, what I have invested in the Dungeons & Dragons movie and what I want delivered by, specifically by Hollywood, by Paramount, by the actors, by Hasbro, is I want a powerful platform I want a catapult that shoots the Dungeons & Dragons game and name into the world, right? So that's a lot, right? It's pretty complicated and there's a lot there, and I'm looking for more than just 2 hours of fun, right? There's a lot riding on this, right? So with that said, what are the obstacles? There's a lot of obstacles. So Hollywood is the biggest obstacle. Hollywood does not understand what Dungeons & Dragons is, not even remotely. You know how I know that? Because I would say 90% of the commentators who talk about Dungeons & Dragons and have every book on the shelf don't understand what Dungeons & Dragons is. So how on earth could Hollywood actually understand what Dungeons & Dragons actually is or is not, right? So that's one issue, is Hollywood is a huge blocker. The other issue is Hollywood right now, in my opinion, has a major problem as far as message narrative, okay? So the message is environmentalism and XYZ, four other things that are really important to Hollywood writers and Hollywood people, right? Whatever woke button of the month you want to put on your chest, that's Hollywood's message right now, right? And they don't really care about your movie. They don't care about your stories. They don't care about their character. They care about screaming their message to the sky, right? And so it's 90% narrative, 10%, 90% message and 10% narrative. Narrative is the actual story, right? What's this story about? Who are these characters? What's this world? What is the magic here, right? That's the narrative, right? And right now, Hollywood just is broken. They're 90% message and 10% narrative. There's three things Hollywood will put in every single story they do now. It's going to be there, right? And the list, and I know the list, right? So, and it's frustrating, right? Because I'm this is D&D. It ain't about 6 things you care about this month, Hollywood. So I'm frustrated that it's going to get through there, right? But right now, I am very excited. And the reason why is I think there's some evidence that the narrative may be right on point for this movie. So there was a recent release. There was a recent a leak, right? Paramount's description of the script leaked of the story, and it was literally this is what it said: X Harper thief. That's a big deal. That says Forgotten Realms. Harper says that's a faction, right? That's a D&D faction, right? X Harper means this character is more nuanced than just being a Harper. They're an X Harper who's now a thief, right? That says background, right? That's huge. That's beyond. That is, hey, this character has lineage, this character has a class, and this character literally has a background. You are reaching the point of literally, that's the kind of nuance you'll find on the player character sheet, right? That's great. I'm super excited about that. Next is Barbarian. That's fantastic. It's a great, it's a classic, Barbarian is a very classic Dungeons & Dragons class. But it will serve every single function of the fighter. That's great. That's fantastic. It means that they're going to go a little bit deeper into the classes, not just put up, wizard, fighter, rogue, thief. But you're going to have Oh, by the way, wizard is a wizard, right? In this, Hugh Grant's going to be playing a wizard. And what's interesting here is the wizard is specifically described in the leak as being ineffective. An ineffective wizard, right? That's interesting, right? I think that's pretty interesting. I would love to see an effective wizard, but actually an ineffective wizard is kind of interesting because like J.R.R. Tolkien, God bless him, he's a great writer. Gandalf sucked, right? Gandalf was the worst. Gandalf's super powerful wizard. And guess what his powers are? They're not casting spells. They're showing up at the exact right time and fixing every single problem that the rest of the group couldn't solve, right? Oh, also, Gandalf's a super dope wizard. But you know what else he can do? He's also really good at using a sword. Like, that's stupid. Gandalf was stupid. Like, Gandalf made no sense. There's no reason in the world an old dude who reads a lot of books is going to be able to use a sword well. It's just stupid. It's poorly written, right? So the reality is, wizards are a little overpowered in D&D, right? So having an ineffective wizard, that is really cool. All right, now the last part is suck, right? I can't put a sign on this. We got a druid replacing the cleric. That is a big problem. That is a big, big problem, right? And here's why. If you pull the cleric out of D&D, you don't understand that they need healing. Healing is a big freaking deal. And that also makes me think, oh, are they not going to have them get into combats where they bleed? Or are they going to be in combats where they bleed constantly and there's nobody to heal them, right? Because if you're going to do a D&D movie right, you really need the core four, right? But because Hollywood couldn't possibly have somebody who believes in gods in a film, the cleric's not going to be there, right? But like I said, we got 3 characters. They're all structured right. The detail is right. The player structure is right except for the cleric. But 75% good, 25% suck. Hey, it's about as good as we're going to get right now. And I'm okay with that. I'm excited. I'm excited with the direction. I'm excited with the flow. And there's a lot of evidence that this movie may not suck, right? And that's good. I'm very excited about that. How about you? What do you think? Having heard all these details from the leak, does that make you more excited that the movie could be good or more excited that the movie could be bad? Also, am I putting too much pressure on the film, or am I spot on? This is what the new film needs to be. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium. Excuse me.